Hello my friends. I feel that I haven't been saying anything recently about the real world and how it's turning out for us. When I look around me, I just see people following orders without much protest, or people who claim to be against the government asking for more control. It's all unfolding like a plot of a dystopian video game, but with what looks like a sad ending. I was not the person to use words like sheeple referring to people, because I respected them. Even if they didn't believe in conspiracy theories, they were still good people, and they didn't have to make the same choice like me in order for me to respect them. I believe that this is what makes us different now. You see, I also question the conspiracy theory community, and I did see them being in many ways like sheep, fighting against each other over theories, calling each other shills if they promoted different theories, and just following who they liked the most like sheep. But not only that, also expecting from that person who they followed to not be anything else but that, and just hear the preaching that they wanted to hear, while condemning and making fun of the vast majority who didn't believe exactly in what they did. In a way, the same type of hate existed in both the conspiracy theory community and the anti-conspiracy theory community. Upon this realization, it was quite difficult for me to make videos for a crowd who is not the freedom-fighting movement that I wanted to see. The vast majorities show mob behavior, so I want us to not have that trait. The vast majorities are quick to judge others, label them and unleash the mob onto them, while considering the ones they attack highly inferior. I want us to not have that trait. So what do I want us to be like? I want us to have wisdom. I want us to carefully analyze situations and take decisions in accordance to our values, while also respecting the fact that we are dealing with human beings. Cast the first stone, he who has not sinned. We all have our flaws, and so God is the only judge. Me and you should be happy if we are allowed in heaven, because we probably don't deserve it. So having this mentality, how can you easily dehumanize another brother and consider them inferior? I do not consider anyone inferior, I consider them misled and sent down a wrong path, but I hope they can come back. However, at this point it is hard to believe that they can, and I am very disappointed at their choices. They are the ones who have shown more hate towards us in these recent years and tried to stop us from even talking. These choices that they make do affect my life and the lives of the minority who believe in freedom. How easily the vast majority of the world accepts an aggressive, invasive global dictatorship while stomping on those who talk against it is beyond me. The problem reaction solution template in its peak moment of success, and as a result, the downfall of humanity. First out of fear and then by force, we are made to accept this injection in our body. Do you not see a problem with that? Because I see a very big problem. Even if you are a very reasonable, scientific-minded person, you should still at least question it. Unfortunately, I have seen a lot of mob-style behavior oriented against the few people who dare to ask questions or are in non-compliance. These people enjoy very much to call their brothers ignorant of scientific facts, when they themselves are ignorant to facts and reasonable questions that can shake the rhetoric that is being presented officially. These people are proud and enjoy posting on social media about their act of obedience to the system. I find that highly disappointing and disgusting. When the governments of this world will lock us in our houses if we refuse to take our injection, they will love to see us locked in. According to how I see people acting on social media in this chaotic division, I don't think they will empathize with us. Might as well ask for us to be killed in front of a live television audience for their entertainment. Fortunately, there are still countries with low percentage of those who accepted the injection willingly, so I don't see how they can enforce their vision of the world on those places. How are you going to make something mandatory where people didn't eat your bullshit yet? They are trying really hard in the media in my country, Romania, to make us believe that not taking the injection makes us look like primitives in the eyes of the civilized world. They hope that by saying things like that it will convince us, because, you know, we are so afraid of what the West thinks of us. Yes, I also grew up with American movies, Western music and video games, and that's the reason I know English, but at 30 plus years old I have something called discernment. Those products didn't really convert me into a Western politics worshipper or something. That doesn't mean I love Russia or China when it comes to how their countries are ran. Russia is like an ex-KGB agent mafia-led improvisation of a great power, and China is the system that is the blueprint for a mechanized beast of ultimate control, which the West unfortunately has inspired from in the last 20 years. I think I was educated well enough at home and not at school of how to tell good from evil. That is why they are trying so hard, also in recent times, to stop you from educating your children and leave it all up to the system. You just feed them and give them money, but they will use their resources to indoctrinate them, but you are not allowed to tell them anything if it contradicts the status quo. In China, a person will get extra social credit points if they report to the government that another person is talking negatively about the government. With how things are going, I see how in the future a person will also be praised if they report on you for not taking your injection or your updated injection. What could be worse is if your own kids will report on you. In my opinion, the world right now is similar to the scenario of Deus Ex, the video game, where the elites create the Grey Death virus on purpose to then present the people with a solution which comes, of course, from the pharmaceutical company that they own and monopolize the market to make more money by controlling the patent rights. In our reality, we have something similar. Dr. Fauci gave money directly to the Wuhan laboratory, and after the leak, Dr. Fauci is the one who is telling everyone to take their injection updates. There is no direct proof linking him to funding of the development of the virus, but the fact of the matter is he did give $3.7 million to EcoHealth Alliance, which shared coronavirus research with the Wuhan lab. The risky kind of research that made some viruses more infectious and more deadly, a process known as gain of function. Of course, the cure in our world is given by representatives of the great powers once again, which hold the monopoly, so other alternative treatments are disqualified and are banned or hard to acquire. Every person with common sense should not just blindly follow orders when they know that some gangster shit is going on in the world. Not to mention the experimental qualities of this so-called vaccine, its quick manufacturing, and to my country, again ordering over 100 million of them, when the entire population of Romania living here is at most around 17 million people. We used to have over 20 million, but they economically assassinated this country, so in the last 10 years more than 3 million people left the country without even having a war here. Like, it's pretty peaceful. But anyway, 20 million still wouldn't be enough to justify this purchase. So how does that make any sense? Even if you claim to buy them to resell them like a bunch of video game keys, it ain't gonna work, as these things expire quickly and you'll have to sell at a reduced price anyway. And how I can see these shady things in my country, I'm sure there are shady things going down in yours, with the most common one being deaths reported of COVID when in fact it was a car crash or another illness. It's quite shocking and an insult to human life that these things are being done under our noses, and if you talk about it, you get attacked and treated like you are the primitive science-denying dangerous virus-carrying subhuman. It's just not fair. All we want is to live, and not just to live, but live freely. You will say that this injection will help me live, but if this injection violates my principles of bodily independence, I don't want it. When the system doesn't trust you to make your own choices and makes things mandatory, it means your input is not needed. You're like a child to them. A system should be there only to make it easier for us to do our business, but sadly we live in systems where they want to know all about our business and control our business, control our bodies, our brains, and ultimately remove our soul.
Once we digitized DNA, we made it infinitely mutable. We could do 1,000 virtual variations in the time it used to take to grow a 1 lab-grade generation of pathogens. And we could pick the best, most lethal combinations and make them real. That's how you make a killer virus, you see.
Do you have any idea how easy it will be for me to make a new virus? All I have to do is find a very large prime number and multiply.
It's been called reckless by fellow citizens who've indeed started a hashtag called COVIDiots.
We see COVID-19 cases on the rise in India, yet people haven't come to their senses. We call them COVIDiots. Yep, COVIDiot, you know what the word means? COVID-19 and an idiot.
Guys, you can't stay on the green. Can you all go home to lockdown? Which means you don't just come in and sunbathe. Can you please just leave?
You're going all the way to drop him a tenner? Yeah. That's breaching COVID then, isn't it? So you've been stopped breaching COVID, yet you're continuing to breach COVID. So your fine's double every time, are you aware?
Do you not watch the news, or do you think you're impervious? Have you got anything to say? You know you're in the wrong, don't you? You don't seem to appreciate the severity of the situation the country's in, sir.
I was engineered to monitor communications and data streams, to find out what people are talking about and make sure it's being discussed correctly.
Correctly? And what if it isn't?
Then my programming allows me to reshape it.
You spin the news. Control what people see. Who created you? Whose policies are you programmed to protect?
I will stay non-compliant for now. I don't know for how long, but I will as long as I can. Because this is my line in the sand. This is what it's all about. This is the topic of discussion. Other conspiracy theories fade away in comparison to what is going on with this pandemic. Deus Ex was right. I even contacted the writer of the game to ask if he wanted to warn people about a possible future or what's going on. How did he get it so right? Because there are other things in that game, like AIs going bad or villains wanting to merge with AIs to control the world. I have received no reply. In any case, I think the real-world scenario surpasses all fiction, and we should all care about it, because this affects not only our life, but the future of the world. Do you really want a world where your kids and their kids will have to take their monthly injection updates in order to be allowed to have a life? I don't. Perhaps I am okay with running a software update on my computer, but I sure don't want updates for my body created by shady companies ran by the mafia, who also has people in the government to enforce these updates. At this point, I won't even be surprised if this experimental cure also has other invasive things in it, such as nanobots to modify our bodies or control our minds or kill us later with a remote control. Everything is possible if they manage to organize and apply this global enslavement plot. Before, I actually thought they weren't so good at organizing and applying anything. I thought that they were divided amongst themselves in different Illuminati-style control groups or factions with different interests around the world, but after seeing this, I think different. Maybe they really are centralized when it comes to certain important agendas. And those differences that we see are just for show, so that we don't think their world is fake, so that we don't see that it's just smoke and mirrors. To conclude, I think we can only stop this with numbers of non-compliance. I know it's hard, you have jobs that require or will require you to take these jabs, you have families and responsibilities, but try for the sake of humanity and the future generations to remain non-compliant. That's all I have to say. God bless you and stay safe from evil.